Guys, I'm CanadienSaintNk, back again with another Twine Peak Storm Shield Defense tutorial. This time we'll be doing Twine Peak Storm Shield Defense 8, something I could not have done without the help of my good friend Travellerr here, who's come to my defense. As many of you have heard, Twine Peak's Storm Shield actually shrinks after Storm Shield Defense 10, so I needed to requisition the help of a few people to get the hang of the new Storm Shield. Which just means I'm going to go back in time to build up somebody else's Storm Shield defenses. So we have everything built up to Storm Shield Defense 8 with the sole exception of Storm Shield Defense 7 over here. And that is because Storm Shield Defense 7 won't actually attack Amplifier F over there. So you can just leave it bare. Storm Shield Defense 8, they also won't attack it, so you could also leave it bare again. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be building up Storm Shield Defense 8 for Amplifier G here, which is the one you're going to be placing on Storm Shield Defense 8, and we're gonna get started here. Nothing too complicated. You will notice I make a few doorways here and there. These are needed doorways. They will help you survive on Storm Shield Defense 10. When that time comes. I know this is 8, and you're like, what am I building these for? But bear with me, guys. Storm Shield Defense 10 comes quick after 8. You're only a couple Storm Shields away. We're going to be taking everything to Storm, or not Storm. We're going to be taking everything to level 3, guys. So as to improve your defensive capabilities. Pretty generic Fortnite stuff. If you're doing Storm Shield Defense 8, you probably know enough to build now, or you don't need me to tell you to put everything to 3. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to put it to 2, just so you can see about half the resources you're going to need to build up your Storm Shield Defense on 8. Now, we aren't going to be able to extend our defenses out all the way that we'd like to. However, we will get about 95% of them done to the south and to the west, so fear not. This is going to be nice and simple. Part of the genius here, that is CanadienSaintNk, guys, is realizing that anywhere they're going to come up from is going to be from this or this. And the best way to find that out for yourself is to just walk the path of the zombies. If you can walk up it, so can they. So obviously I can't get up this big ledge here, but if I get up here, I can come up here. So that means between this 2 square little radius here is where they're going to come up. If you want like a more narrow, which probably is impossible to be honest with you, at least to sandwich the entire wave here, you could just put something here. It's just you would limit the amount of traps you could place there. So I opted to create this little 2 square ledge a little bit further in, just in case. It provides decent cover. It provides shelter from the storm, if you will. Again, this will be can be attacked on 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to be using 130 gas traps. You could use 106s, as I've gone over in some of my previous one. 106 fully legendary perked up. This one doesn't need to have it actually. Fully legendary perked up 106s are comparable to legacy rolls, which means before perk recombobulation was a thing. They're comparable to 130 god roll ones, so by all means, if you have fully legendary perked up 106 gas traps, unlike myself, mine are 130, use them. I use that double crit chance, double crit damage. One of these days I'll say double crit rating instead of double crit chance, but until then I'm just going to be a plebeian for now. But I accidentally put a wall dynamo here. Don't put a wall dynamo here. This is going to save your life by not putting a wall dynamo here. What you're going to be doing instead is making this a doorway. I did waste some resources there, and that's fine. I saved you a structure. As you could see, Travellerr has built exactly like I have on his Storm Shield defense. These are his actual structures placed. If you have been following my guides to the T, these are the amount of structures you'll have. He did have a couple traps missing here and there. That's fine. He's just waiting for his traps to level up. He's playing it smart. and letting his traps do most of the work. So I've got no complaints there. He's done really well. You might have a slightly different trap amount. That's fine as well. Don't worry about rushing that. It'll come with time, guys. So what we're doing here is a simple 2x2. Mathematically, I suppose, I don't know, it's some weird polygon, but I didn't go to school for math. I'm just going to make sure this meteor doesn't affect that. And I'm going to build another one. And then I'm going to build this while I have the option to. That'll be our exterior defense, guys. We're going to level that up because we can. And if you remember how to level up your exterior defense, all you have to do is take out your building tool. I think this one might be too close for me. Take out your building tool and extend it out there. It might be a little bit tough. Oh, we had it. There it goes. See? You gotta wiggle it around sometimes, but it gets there. It might be a little bit easier on console. I know PC players sometimes have a little bit of trouble with it. Just keep that in mind though. If you whip out your building tool, you can actually edit and upgrade boxes outside of your storm shield. Now for the most part here, we don't have to worry too much about clogging the start of your tunnel. Oh, by the way, that meteor will change. There's about 3 spots that it could drop on. So you don't want to build outside of this square. Like if you build right here, that's going to be destroyed. Obviously you saw the meteor earlier. You probably recognize that will be destroyed. For my Storm Shield Defense 10, I ended up building a Vanguard defense way out there because at that time the Storm Shield was glitched and you could actually just walk through the Storm Shield. It was fantastic, guys. So I pre-built this amplifier because I didn't think anything would spawn up here. And I just built a whole bunch of Vanguard defenses. I ended up regretting that because it used so much structures, and one day I just got so close that the meteor activated, and then I didn't have to worry about it anymore because it just took out 90% of it. But there's some things that you can do there to really pump up your defense. This one seems kind of close, but it looks like we're still in the clear here. And we're gonna put gas traps over these floor launchers. This is a fairly noob build, if you will, in the sense that you're gonna be using floor launchers beneath your gas traps. You can do the same on this side. They're gonna kind of split off and go down one tunnel each. That'll be fine. Again, you're not gonna get propanes from this side. I guess I shouldn't say again because I didn't mention that. You're not going to be getting propanes from this side, guys. So you don't need to worry about them blocking up, them staggering. You know how we went over with amplifier A, amplifier B, amplifier E, directly to the east. Yeah, directly to the east of me, 2 amplifiers over. I go over the fact that you just do not want to... I absolutely do not want to stagger the wave so much that propane tanks go, you know what, I can't move forward, I need to throw this propane tank at my feet. So don't do that. That's no, just don't. We're just gonna put gas trap all over here because this is gonna be a later wave defense. Oh, I don't know what I craft, but I'll take it. Because this is gonna be a later wave defense, we want something that has a lot of uses. So 53 uses doesn't seem like, it's not a lot, but it's enough where you can get through the entire wave and maybe replace the trap the next time, or it'll still be good, and maybe you'll get lucky with one of those weird glitches where it completely resets all over again, which is a bit of a godsend, I'll admit. But considering the amount of volume that's coming through these tunnels, you just want gas traps that'll fire over time. So anything that's behind these wall launchers that continuously walks through is still getting afflicted, is still getting a lot of damage because they're being critted underneath these floor spikes. Now I'm using 130 floor spikes. I think I notice a difference for them. I know I'm probably crazy because a lot of people say... Could upgrade that. A lot of people say that there's no difference between a legendary and an epic floor spike. It's still just going to be, you know, that flat 20 to 30% slowing effect. But for me personally, I notice a difference when they're slowed. That just might be console lag. I'll be completely honest with you, it's entirely plausible. But I've taken the 130s in there versus higher level enemies. I've put it side by side with my 106s. There's a difference. I put it side by side with the 71 epic trap. There's a massive difference. I don't know if that's a level factor or simply the traps themselves. But there's a sizable amount of difference there. I'd say probably about 5 to 10% of slowing effects. It's so negligible that you almost don't notice it. But for me personally, because I pay attention to my traps so much, you know, especially my wall launchers and my floor spikes, I really recognize that kind of stuff. Now I'm going to put a couple partitions here just to give these wall launchers a little bit more oomph, a little bit more pathing, if you will. Actually, on this one, I'm going to go like this to make it nice and even on the left and right side, so they don't all path to one side and they don't all path to the other side. Theoretically, they'll all just path down to either side that's convenient, and then through the middle here. Now, when the storm shield extends and you have the chance to come out here, you want to put a wall dart. You want to put a gas trap there. Oh, you could actually put a gas trap here because you can see the corner. I put floor spikes here. You can put retractable floor spikes if you really want to deal extra damage to some of those smaller zombies. Assuming, of course, they missed the gas traps. Just a little bit of extra crowd control through damage, eliminating the small fries. That's entirely plausible, and leave this tunnel to, you know, the propane tanks. Leave it to the husky husk and the blasters that come via these waves. But again, you want to put a floor launcher there. You could put a wall dart on the opposite side, gas trap, and then put a wall dart on this back wall here. The reason you want a wall dart is because you could put a wall dynamo and just stagger everything on here, but the wall dart will actually fire off down this tunnel to this square at the very least. So you get a little bit of extra damage on these squares that might be lacking the damage themselves. And that way you kind of, you know, you bring up all the damage all into one big pot. Now for this, we get a little bit tricky here. We're gonna place it. We're gonna place the other one. It'll be difficult to place the other one on the bottom there, if you haven't placed this one, because it won't lock onto that piece, and so you'll kind of be like I was before. You know, I was just kind of hanging in the air here, or I was hanging in the air here, so it was a little bit difficult. Oh, gotta take up my tool. Upgrade these before progressing, because then you're going to be placing a floor right here. As well, we're going to switch up, alternate our building material. We're going to go brick. We're going to create a little cube. This is relatively easy to put to tier 2 because we're right here, obviously. We're going to make this out of metal as well. The easiest way to do this, the way that I did, is you actually want to... Yeah, see, I didn't want to... Can't remember if I brought this. Yeah, I brought this right up against the... Okay. Which means I did that. Okay. I just had to reorient it all in my mind. So we got our metal, we got our stone. You want to put it all to tier 3. I just blocked myself off from reaching that that metal, which isn't end all be all. If I really wanted to, I could probably reach it by editing these stairs and the walls behind it. Okay, that worked. That's kind of surprising. I'll take it though. If you really want extra protection, which I would advise, just go another brick, especially do the brick on the side with the stone stairs. Make sure you keep that all one material, because if they break through these brick walls in the front and they go through, they're not going to view these stairs as a deterrent. They're just going to go through this brick wall, sort of thing. So we got it like so. We're going to set up our other kill tunnel to the south. We're going to get rid of any debris in the area. There was a considerable amount of debris over to the west, I believe, but I think I took that out beforehand.
Let's build.
And this side is just going to get super, super worked up here, guys. This is going to be amazing. This side's actually really easy to defend, if I'm being honest with you. I never had any kind of issue defending it. Actually, at both sides of these amplifiers are pretty easy to defend. I had my last wave on Storm Shield Defense 10, which I think is, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes. It's been a while, but it was no problem at all. Well, I shouldn't say no problem at all. I did die once, technically speaking.
Nope.
Probably running low on metal. Yeah, I am. Okay, that's fine. But as far as... Ooh, I don't want to jump down there. As far as just pathing the enemy goes, it's incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy to create these kill tunnels. They're very simple. You know, I got my 2x2 stacked twice here. Again, the whole reason why I call them 2x2s is because unless you're doing them back to back, you're just wasting so many resources. And on most missions, it is absolutely a waste of resources. I want that one upgrade. There we go. Most of these floor pieces aren't really useful too much. Sometimes the wall launchers will launch them over a wall. It's very noticeable if you have like 106s with blue perks and you put a wall right there. Let's say you put a wall launcher right here. Well, I mean, we'll be putting wall launchers all across here. But let's say for this example, you put a 1/3 wall right here. It'll actually launch them over this wall. Not all the time. Most of the time, probably with the triple impact double reload that I have on mine, but not all the time. So now that they have triple impact and double reload on them, and they're launching them 3 squares, there's the possibility now that they're going to be launching them over this square itself. So if you're worried about that, you could actually get rid of this square and elongate it to 3 squares. I was worried about smashers coming versus this amplifier, which never happened. So I didn't. I just wanted, you know, a nice simple path because I'm already asking them to come around 3 squares over here if they want to get up, because I'm, you know, you can't walk up here, they can't walk up here, so they have to go all the way around to walk all the way up here and then up here, which is difficult for smashers to do, especially when they're being tossed 3 squares over, especially on this last one. So you saw when I did the floor plan originally, I only put 2 squares here instead of the third square. That's just because, you know, I don't want the smashers to path that far around. Maybe they'll path that far around if they're being tossed all the way over here and they have, you know, 1, 2, 3 walls between them and the objective, because you would then of course add walls in between these, which you could add anyway, so nothing beats against the backside of these and then goes through these. But for the sake of this it's all more than enough. We're gonna put some floor spikes. As far as my dynamos go, this is something that I've kind of been procrastinating talking about here, guys. I actually changed up my dynamos from my previous videos. The reason why I did that is fairly simple. I joined a level 100 match by myself, and I saw something very pitiful, which is my dynamos as, you know, one of the strongest wall traps in the game, if not the strongest, depending on the way you use it. Fire off and it didn't kill a skinny husk, and I was very discouraged by that. So previously I had, you know, these stacks of crit rating, crit damage, wall dynamos, and by all means they are good. Like, especially if you're challenging higher level content, you want that extra damage from your wall dynamos. But because I don't need to challenge higher level content as much anymore, and because I already have my gas traps to challenge that higher level content, especially, you know, game modes like Challenge the Horde, where I could do, you know, challenge level 50, 85, whatever, my gas traps are still more than enough, and my dynamos will probably get destroyed anyways at that level if they're on a wall nearby, so I don't have to spam them out there. So I switched it up. I got a little bit more damage. As you can see, there's about 9,000 more damage. Over 9,000. Dragon Ball Z reference. And I switched up one of the crit damages to reload speed. So I got damage and reload now on them instead of 2 crits, 2 crit damages. and I find them a lot better. I don't know if I haven't tested them out yet. I only did it the other day, but I assume the damage is good enough now where we'll take out a skinny husk. If it isn't, I'll probably tinker with it more then, but I'm happy with the way they are now. I didn't really lose a whole lot of crit damage. 23k, it seems like a lot, especially when we're talking about a 9k damage increase in base damage. But as far as trap damage overall, I'll probably raise the floor of it a little bit just by having that extra damage and reload speed anyways, which will help in my gas rooms, as opposed to this 12-second really long reload time. So I would advise having a high reload dynamo on these ones, just because there's going to be a lot of volume coming through one tunnel alone. You could get flingers, you could get blasters, so there's a lot of variety of zombies that'll come through here, so you really got to be careful on what kind of traps you bring in and your reload speed. And I believe I said it on Storm Shield Defense 4, you really got to know your traps through and through, and you got to know your level of traps, because it could easily bite you in the rear end if you haven't been paying attention, and the days come now where you have to kind of pay the due for it, which would be Storm Shield Defense 9 or 10. And it's a learning. Well, that's kind of a weird place to put it, but all right. I'm going to do these two double layered. It seems cool. Playing with Travellerr, we did his Storm Shield Defense 6 and Storm Shield Defense 7 defenses to get up to this point. And I've noticed with some of my roofs here, over there he has the long planks, but over there by B and over by A, I did sections of these angled walls. But he had a really hard time getting around those as a heavy base. So just making adjustments here as we go along. If you have these, they'll work the exact same. They'll protect everything underneath them, obviously. Obviously, if they destroy the base here, it'll be a little bit easier for them to get through. So something you could do is just add little walls on the backside here, and then if you need to put your base ahead of this, which you won't on this amplifier, but on other amplifiers, if you might need to do this, you could just make a doorway and put your base there, and you're still supporting the structure above it. You're absolutely fine. That way, if they attack and they destroy the middle piece, or one row of pieces, you still have the walls behind them anyways. You could put those to level 2. I'm going to put them to level 1, so that there's a little bit of a difference between these walls and those walls. Those walls won't get attacked primarily unless you're standing right underneath those traps and there's a wave of lobbers. Now I didn't put any dynamos in here because I did want to go over the trap rolls on them, but I have now, so I am going to go ahead and put some wall dynamos over here. Again, you could put wall darts here. I'm going to put wall darts here. Same with that side. You notice there's not a wall there. We just can't reach it. We might actually be able to reach it from the top. I don't think so, but we might. We can. Okay, so we put a wall there. Success, guys. Success, Guardians, if you will. Been playing too much Destiny lately. But as far as damage goes, you're pretty much good here. I'm gonna add a stairs on top of this just because I'm super paranoid that they might spawn over there. I've seen both spawns on this and they don't spawn over there, but they spawn close enough where I am worried that they could come up and over, if you will. So I block this off regardless. Now here's the dilemma, right? If you've watched this far and you're an experienced builder in Fortnite, you've probably recognized, 1, I haven't put any ceiling traps on this, but 2, these trap tunnels are incredibly detached. Now, if you are playing a heavy base or power base, you have a great solution at your fingertips, and that is the fact that you have the game's biggest base. Oh, I ran out of metal just at the right time. You don't actually need to build these ceilings out of metal. You could build them out of stone. Imagine that. Now, one thing you want to be wary of is when you build these ceiling pieces, you need to make sure that whatever is going to come underneath them has more than enough room for a blaster to get through and up. So obviously they don't need to go over there, they can come over here, so we don't need to worry about this ceiling. Now the problem over here is that if they're going to come over and up, they don't have enough room, right? Especially for propane tanks. That's the main reason why we want to check the height of these. We don't want to build this too low so that propane tanks view it that they can't move forward, because when we toss them from here into this square, they're going to be like, man, why would I path all the way around here just to come around here to throw my propane tank at the ceiling that's directly connected to this wall anyways? I could just throw my propane tank at this wall and maybe I'll get it. Maybe the next guy will get it. Doesn't matter. I'm still alive. I just want to destroy as much as possible because that's the propane AI. As far as bases go, you're just going to want to put it either on this one or on this one, whichever one, base loot. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one down is 7. So you're not going to get some of the floor traps. You could probably put it on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, down one is 5, and the floor is 6. So you get it there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's the problem is you really want to get this tunnel. But at the same time, they're not going to attack from both directions, so you really don't have to worry about it too much. The reason why I put these ceilings here, especially right here actually, a little bit extra damage. I wouldn't advise it putting it here. I feel like that's a little bit too close to their spawn. But you don't have to do any of this mumbo jumbo, because they'll just walk up here. So theoretically all these are useless. Just gonna double jump. Okay, so I'm getting rid of those ceiling pieces. We're going to put a gas trap on this one. So anything that's going to come out of this tunnel now is going to walk to the sides here. If you need to put your base down, you know which direction they're coming from. It's either the south or the west, so you can put your base down, you know, anywhere really. Oh, that's not... there we go. I'm just gonna extend this out. This isn't fully finished, but just going over the bases. If you wanted to, actually you'll have to. When this wave starts, this is the most pivotal key, by the way. So you remember how on amplifier D, we talked about they can walk up these ledges. This is why I blocked this off so thoroughly on this side, but on that side they can't. And now, while I'm reasonably sure that they won't attack on Storm Shield Defense 8, and you'll have the chance for the Storm Shield to extend far enough where you could actually place another wall out there. So you don't, if your traps are still a little bit low level on this one, you could hold out a little bit. You just start it up. If all your defenses are built, you'll be able to build Amplifier D by this point, which we've already done for Travellerr. But you want to put a wall at the end of this, and you want to put a wall launcher on that wall, and you want to put a wall launcher on every wall between that as well. The wave can be really weird, and you want them all to come through here. The downside to coming through here is that they actually have to come all the way back over here. So if they can create a straight line from and to, they absolutely will, especially with propane tanks. Now, I used 4.9 second reload speed on my old wall launchers. As you can see, my legacy wall launchers here have that 4.9 seconds. That was more than enough to keep them, you know, keep coming down that tunnel. These ones have 4.3. They have 2 legendary reload perks, sorry, and they'll be more than enough as well. Even all the way up to Storm Shield Defense 10 will be versing 130 enemies. They have more impact and knockback than my 130s. Now again, there might be that slight level difference, especially you know, we talked about those floor spikes earlier, having that level difference possibility where 130s were actually slowing more than 106s and 71 epics. But there's the possibility that there's just that level gap between the wall launchers at 106 and 130 that they just can't do anything. So you just got to be wary of that. Pay attention to your wall launchers. You could even test it if you want. I think your first smash wave on Storm Shield Defense 10 might come on, or Storm Shield Defense 9 even, might come from the east on the main base. So you could test it off really quick, whether or not they affect 130s. You wanna pay attention to when they fire off. Your wall launchers, that is, because sorry, a little bit out of breath, guys. Because they might fire off and you might not realize it. It's such a subtle thing when they fire off. It's just a little jerk forward, and if you miss it, it's gone, right? For another 4.3 seconds. And you want to pay attention to it because we're going to add a little bit of stairs here. That'll ensure that anything that flingers toss onto this roof that gets hit up on those stairs will come around and then just come back to the base like a regular zombie would. And then the gas traps at the base will come at it. But the wall launchers you want to pay attention to. I keep saying because, but I'll be honest with you. In my mind, it's just not forming the words to put in. I know I'm kind of reaching my limit anyways already with my back pain. But just bear with me, guys. It's not a big deal if you miss out on your... okay, so for this I want to be on the bottom. Oh, right, I don't have any. Okay, now there's some weird... See, my buddy Metal did this weird thing where he stuck them on the bottom without being close enough to the shield where they were clipping through it. It was a miracle. He's a master of placing the ceiling drop traps. He's the only person I know that has 130 drop traps. He also deeply regrets it, but he's the only person I know that has 130 drop traps. On the back side here, this is mainly protection against flinger zombies that are thrown around to the side here, or even drop onto the ceiling and fall all down to the bottom. They'll come around here because this is the quick... Obviously, they can't beat against the rock here, so they'll come and they'll try and beat through your tunnels. And these are our wall launcher tunnels. So no matter what, we can't lose these wall launcher tunnels. So I'm putting gas traps, I'm putting floor spikes, I'm putting dynamos, I'm putting wall darts. This is incredibly imperative, guys, because there can be a lot of flingers if they come from the south side. Even the west side, there can be a lot of flingers, but to a lesser degree because they have so many paths that they can walk over things. That the last stand there is if they miss something, it's either going to attack the base or it's going to go straight back down the tunnel up to the west there. But over here on the south, if they miss, they're not going to go back to the tunnel because going back to the tunnel means bypassing these walls, going 12 squares around just to get back into the tunnel to walk 15 squares to the base. 4 or 5 squares down, 3 squares over, another 2 squares diagonally up and around, and then another 3 squares to the base if you include the wall they have to beat through. Which generally, my math, because I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying, is probably about 15. So instead they're just going to beat against, one of these walls, depending on which one they land closest to. They're not always going to beat against that wall, because even though it's closest to the base, they could just come up and beat against this wall, because Husk aggro isn't always 100%, as we've no doubt known. Travellerr and I were actually remarking earlier on the fact that smashers are still phasing into walls. So it happens, guys. Just gonna create a little... Now, it's easy enough to just jump onto this, especially if you're a constructor. Nothing's going to destroy this unless you shoot a propane underneath it, so you really don't need to worry about it per se. But as far as ceilings go, you can just leave it. You don't need to protect it too much. I'm creating this little barricade so they don't walk around here. So that pretty much pits everything in your field of view. So if they attack from the west, you could pretty much just sit here and shoot down it. Storm Shield Defense 10 versus 140 enemies, I will say it was incredibly difficult to kill the blasters. So what I ended up doing was I just ran in a circle. If anybody's watched my Storm Shield Defense 10 video on YouTube, all I did was just run in a circle. I think I only had one door on this. Yeah. Okay. That's because we want to add dynamos to the inside. In case a flinger zombie gets stuck over there, we're just going to add some dynamos as well on these walls. I'm adding dynamos because all the wonderful things he does. No, because, again, you know, flinger zombies don't have the best aggro, and even though they can come up all the way up here, doesn't always work that way. Now, because you're running circles around the inside of this, on Storm Shield Defense 10, if they attack from this side on their final wave like they did for mine, you're going to have a lot of lobbers. And you won't be able to get out there and create a lobber shield because there's a meteor that actually covers their spawn, and they're close enough from that meteor to just toss lobber bombs endlessly onto the thing. So what I did is I created a lobber shield. I ran circles around my base. So I went in, and then I came out, and then I went up, and then I repaired everything. And it was really simple. If you want to create more supports, just in case, you know, a ceiling gets dropped, you can do it like so. You could do it like this. It's still relatively easy to get to the top of your base. Now, as far as getting to this base itself, it is incredibly difficult. Mostly because amplifier F will be in the way. So if you want to go all the way around the map, especially if you're by E, going all the way around the map isn't really going to be feasible. One of the easiest methods I find to do is, especially if you're over, you know, by B or C, what you can do is you could actually launch yourself over, around. You can just drop off onto the cliff here. There's a geyser by C that'll launch you up if you're on your hoverboard and you can land on the cliff. And then pretty much you'll drop down to this cliff. And you'll come over to this geyser. You'll miss this meteor because you have good reaction time and can fly through it. Same with over E, you could just drop down over here, and then you just want to ride your hoverboard and you'll get up. If you're not on your hoverboard, there's a chance you won't make it all the way up. That's okay too. If you can't get all the way up, don't worry. Everybody has those kinds of performance issues sometimes. Don't let it get you down, buddy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create some jarhead pads. And I call these jarhead pads because soldiers always need them to get around. Hence the jarhead paddiness. So we're just gonna create some ways up. Should probably create it more. These will take you 2 squares high, so it's jump pads, guys. It's real simple, but you can still get up here even if you really derp it on the geyser and you'll land on one of these. You can just run over here. Come up. You could theoretically build a platform up and up, so you just consistently go up. But you could also just, not derp it on your hoverboard and you get all the way up anyways. You don't need to build anything here really, because if a flinger throws it on here and the zombie's like, oh, there's an open spot here, it can't reach it anyways. So there's no threat from that side. Likewise on the north here, there's no threat. There's just a giant cliff, and they can't get up this cliff unless they go all the way around. There's a little pathway that you can kind of see the opening to over here. They'll go up and around it. That's something I did forget. If you want to add a little bit extra deterrent, sometimes zombies will come on the back of your tunnels here and start beating against it. Upgrade all this to level 2, 3, doesn't matter. These walls, specifically these upside down stairs, probably make them slanted instead. You can put some wall darts that'll fire through stairs. That's still a thing, I think. They might patch that soon, though, I imagine.
You serious?
Set good foundations. You got your lobber shield set up. You could put your base right here and it would still cover the front of it. As well, if you have any kind of modifiers like power modulation from power-based knocks, you can put a floor right here and you'll cover all the way to the end of that blockade, so they won't path around for whatever ironic reason. I don't know why they would, but they theoretically could if they really wanted to. You might even get some of this trap tunnel, but it doesn't really matter if they're attacking from the west. But as far as Storm Shield Defense 8 goes, you are about 90% done. I'm going to add some partitions on those two specifically. I don't want to put them too close to the start of the tunnel because I don't want propanes to stack up at the start of the tunnel, and I don't want to put them too late because they're already going to come around 2.5 squares to walk back 3 squares over to this little ledge here. So I want to pat them as little as possible on this side. I'm already asking them to do it terribly a lot, so if anything gets to this side, it's probably a smasher anyways, and he'll probably just beat against that wall. But that's why we made it a full wall. If you're having problems with smashers on this final wall, just replace this dynamo with a wall launcher and that'll be absolutely fine. If you're having problems with monsters coming straight down this alley here, so you know how we made all these walls here. That was foolish. There we go. So you got that wall. That's our final outside wall. You could actually put wall launchers on the outside here, which would be this side for this wall, just to launch them back there. You won't actually launch anything back there because anything that's launched in, anything that's coming through here won't come through here if you put wall launchers on the inside of these, because wall launchers, as I've mentioned before, act as a bit of a deterrent on your roadblocks. So it's just easy deterrent. It's like an extra wall. You don't have to put stairs or anything that might block, a couple darts from your wall darts. You don't have to put sideways stairs like that. You just put wall launchers themselves. In that way, it also, kind of lets you see where they're coming from. So then you could also put some gas traps, maybe if they are actually coming through because your traps are so low level, you can put gas traps on the ceilings there and knock them back through those gas traps, and they'll progressively die over time anyways. So as far as Storm Shield Defense 8 walkthrough goes, you don't need to build F, sorry, not 5, on Storm Shield Defense 7 because the Storm Shield is so close to it, you can't actually build it. Again, it won't be attacked on 7 or 8, or 9, or 10. If you play it like I did, like if you place your amplifiers the way that I have, which Travellerr has intelligently done. He's got A over there, he's got B over there, he's got C down in the crater. He took that leap of faith with me. He's got D in the lava pit. He's got E, which is a very easy one, which most people place as their C, to the south of A, which is to the south of the main amplifier. And so now we placed F there, and we placed G here. Now I've already pre-made the tutorial video for Storm Shield Defense 9, so we know where H is going to go. And that leaves I to the north of Amplifier C. But however, I will be doing a tutorial video for Storm Shield Defense 7, probably shortly tomorrow. But as far as defenses go, the Storm Shield wasn't extended enough for us to build it anyways. So I'm gonna hold off on it. It is extended enough where you could build the preliminary defenses here. But again, that might just be for tomorrow. I've kind of overdone myself today working through Travellerr's Storm Shield. He's done a great job with it. It's just, getting to Storm Shield Defense 7 and 8 was, it's just time consuming, right? So I only have so much time that I could sit up for or stand for in a day because of medical reasons. But I appreciate you guys watching this. I hope you liked it. I'll put this up on YouTube, so if you're watching on Twitch, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. I really appreciate any kind of publicity the channel gets, so long as it's not negative. Unless I've earned the negativity, then by all means, call me out for it, because I like to grow a positive community. And hopefully we can do that together, guys. So again, thanks for watching, and a big shout out to Travellerr, who's done a fantastic job lending me his Storm Shield to build for him, which seems negative, but he has been a fantastic sport about it, and he's a super great guy. So if you ever see him in the future, give him a high five for him.